How we doing, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. On this soon-to-be morning show, we're going to be talking about the AFC West. Can the Kansas City Chiefs do what only one other NFL team has done in the history of the league, and that is go to 4 consecutive Super Bowls? Will the Denver Broncos knock them off the AFC West mountain as Bo Nix is looking to have a super sophomore season? Pete Carroll's taken over in Vegas, and they have arguably the best tight end in the NFL currently, as well as possibly the best running back in this draft class in Ashton Genty. Jim Harbaugh, year 2, out in Los Angeles, getting Justin Herbert some really good toys to play with on offense. But will the Rashawn Slater season-ending injury derail the Chargers' chances of taking the next step? These are all questions that we're going to ask in a very, very competitive, very exciting AFC West division. And got a good friend that's going to be popping in just a minute. Enjoy this intro, and I'll be right back.
I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York.
All right, I am back, Richard Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast, and welcome back to the show, my good friend out in San Antonio, Texas, Mr. Mike Zappi, the man with all the picks in the Pops, Cheddar, and the Sun League.
What's going on, buddy? How are we doing today?
Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. Unfortunately, not a 3-man show as we had hoped. Idris is under the weather, but I'll be seeing him this weekend. I actually think he's going to be spending the night here at my house Friday night, actually. Going to be hanging out here with Jen and Noah and myself, and we're going to be taking it to the resort for our fantasy draft. Definitely looking forward to it. And Mr. Zappi, the odds are stacked against me after trading so much draft capital, but I am looking for a third one of these in 4 years, which would make me a dynasty. And what better time to introduce these trophies? Because the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be looking to be a dynasty. Not that they aren't already in the conversation, but if you can win 3 in 4 years and make it to a 4th consecutive Super Bowl, they are basically everything that Buffalo wouldn't be. Because, Buffalo unfortunately ran into the buzzsaw known as the NFC East in the early 90s. Your team cracked them twice. The former Redskins got them, as well as my New York Football Giants. So, yeah.
And it's crazy you talk about them because right now I'm in the middle of watching that documentary, America's Team, the Gambler and his Cowboys, and watching Jim Kelly talk on the show and how it's like, we had our opportunity in the first Super Bowl, we lost. We had our opportunity in the second Super Bowl, we lost. And then we get the Cowboys, and then that game was out of control right away in Super Bowl 27. And then they get the rematch in 28, and it's just like, you talk about I talk about the Buffalo Bills because of what we're talking about today with the AFC West. It excites me, man. It excites me that you bring it up. I forgot all about that until just now, you mentioning it. So, whew.
Yeah, it's insanity, Zap. It really is, because the only other dynasties, in my opinion, that were that close to making this happen. I mean, of course, you could mention the Patriots, but I personally think your Cowboys of the '90s were a little more close to doing it because of the ferocious comeback that they made in Candlestick Park against the 49ers. That was,
Yeah,
of
I mean,
course, the game where Irvin
20,
incinerated the great Deion Sanders. Michael Irvin had a hell of a game in a losing effort.
yeah, I mean, God, that game was out of hand, 21-0 within the first 7 minutes of the game. You know, to lose the game 38-28. I mean, that showed the Cowboys' true character, their true grit of a team, who they were, and then, you know, like I always wonder, not to take anything away from the 49ers, but if Jimmy was there, we win that game.
Well, I will say this. There's a couple of turning points in going back to those dynasties, because you had the 49er dynasty of the 80s, followed by the Cowboy dynasty of the 90s, sprinkled in with the Little Giants and the Little Redskins. But the thing that's interesting is, like, if Montana doesn't go down with the Leonard Marshall hit, could the 49ers have possibly held off the Cowboys a little longer? It's such a hard thing to say, because although Montana was the league MVP, they were getting older. But that's unfortunately something that we didn't get to see, because um, I, people could debate all they want about who the better quarterback is, whether it's Troy or whether it's Steve Young. Um, Clearly, the Cowboys were the better team more times. And, I said this to you off air, and it's no secret. Dion was more important to the 49er team, I should say, because he was there for 1 year, than he was to the Cowboys. He was like the cherry on top for the Cowboys. Whereas for the 49ers, he swayed it, even though the NFC title game that I'm speaking of is not indicative, because Irvin had such a phenomenal game. Last dynasty, the Packers, if the merger happens a few years earlier, they would be remembered in a little more of a cooler aura, so to speak. Because the Steelers are a weird one, because while they went back to back twice, it was spread out in a decade. And, were it not for the Jackie Smith drop, your Cowboys and them basically split the decade and split their two head to head meetings. You got revenge later on to culminate, your dynasty of the 90s, the Larry Brown game. But a lot at stake for these Kansas City Chiefs, Mike.
I know, dude. I mean, we saw it happen again, where an opportunity to make history, and I wanted to correct you. I was going to say the Steelers were probably the team that were the closest, because yes, they did do it back to back twice, but they did it back to back within 6 years. So that's why
That is pretty impressive.
like, yeah, it's one thing. Yeah, great. 3 and 4 years. I mean, we've seen it from the NFL. The Steelers did 4 and 6 years, and they didn't lose any in that time. Like, they won every Super Bowl in those 6 years. So I got to give credit to that team and say that they were the
Madden's
closest.
Raiders, bro. Madden's Raiders are one of the big what ifs, because they were so damn good, but they just couldn't beat the Steelers.
Couldn't beat the Steelers. They couldn't beat the Steelers.
Those Steelers teams were friggin' loaded, dude, and a big rival of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not these days as much. Before I go any further, got to give a shout out to the late great Lyle Alzado, here pictured in a Denver Broncos uni, playing against the Raiders. He played for both those teams. That is a trend that we see in this division. Guys switching teams. We saw it with Marcus Allen. Was one notable guy that did it. This is back when the Seahawks were even a part of this division. But Lyle, got to tell a quick cool story before we get into the division all the way. When he was a rookie, his first professional game on the road was against the Philadelphia Eagles. He set up a convoy of buses to my grandfather's firehouse. He was a volunteer in Long Island, South Shore, Long Island. And Lyle got all the firefighters out there from back home to see him play his first game. I had the pleasure of meeting him when I was playing Pee Wee football with his son, Justin, as well as his nephew, Joey. And just an outstanding guy. The media really pitched things a certain way when I thought he was being a real man, admitting his wrongs, and they can say what they want in the media, but in the five towns, we know all about the great person that Lyle Alzado was. So cheers to him, and cheers to him also for opening the door for a lot of guys to get into Hollywood via the sports, via the NFL, because he was one of the first guys to break down the doors. He also had a TV show called Learning the Ropes back in the day. That ring a bell, but it was a wrestling sitcom, actually. But Lyle, just a kid at heart, God rest his soul, and just a phenomenal football player, a guy that really turned it on. But unfortunately, because of some of the demons that he actually spoke on with the steroid use, I don't feel that the NFL celebrates him the same way that they celebrate his teammate Howie Long, who has always, been the squeaky clean type. But outside of maybe Jack Tatum, I don't think anybody embodied the Oakland Raiders, Los Angeles Raiders, now the Vegas Raiders. Obviously, he's in a Bronco uniform here, but I don't think anybody embodied what being a Raider was more than that guy, maybe with the exception of Tatum.
That's a good point, man. Even
for Muhammad Ali, bro.
Yeah, that's
insanity. Late great Shane Olivier, who played with the now Los Angeles Chargers, San Diego at the time, also from my high school. And Shane had a pretty good career. He paved the road for LT's, the other LT, LaDainian Tomlinson's record-breaking season of 06. But without further ado, let's get on these Raiders, buddy. Free agency pickups and re-signed players. Edge Malcolm Kuntz. By the way, is he a relative of George Kuntz? I'm curious. Jeremy Chin of, formerly of the Commanders. Alex Kappa, the former Bengal. I'm putting the teams that they previously played on here. Jermaine Pratt, nice pickup there. Quarterback Eric Stokes. Edge Elandon Roberts. Lonnie Johnson, Raheem Mostert, a guy who led the NFL in total touchdowns just a couple of years ago. It changes fast in the NFL. And I'm just going to let our viewers see who else these Raiders brought in. And, of course, the big pickup, Pete Carroll, former Super Bowl winning champion, one of the rarities in the NFL, a guy who gets a third opportunity with the Seahawks after 2 failures with the Patriots and Jets. He reformed himself at USC before the Seahawk job. Took them to 2 consecutive bowls. They won 1, they lost 1. We know all about the damn Russell Wilson play where you should have just gave it to Mr. Skittles. But I'll tell you what, Mike, this Raider team, while I still think they're probably the worst in the division, they're going to be an exciting team to watch. And, with Geno Smith at the helm, I think this is a team that is not going to be afraid to air it out.
I look at the Raiders as they're going to be a feisty team. They're going to be a very feisty team. We talk about bringing in Pete Carroll and then going out and drafting Ashton Jeanty, who, from what I've seen that's been televised on NFL Network, whatever, that kid is going to be explosive. He's a ping pong ball. Everyone's bouncing off of him. And
he's the goods, bro. He's the total package in my eyes.
Yeah, oh no, he definitely is. And then when I look at Pete Carroll bringing Geno Smith over with him, and then you have Jacoby Myers, you go and you brought back Amari Cooper today. Like, this team, obviously, they're to me, they're not supposed to be winning yet. Like, to me, this is a 2 to 3 year operation. You have your bridge quarterback with Geno. You didn't get your quarterback this year, but next year, in a very quarterback deep class. So I think when I look at the Raiders, to me, they remind me a lot of what the Giants are going to be. Giants are going to be one of those feisty teams as well, but their win total is not going to support their success on the field because I don't think the offense is going to produce. And when I look at the Raiders, I think they're going to be in a lot of games, but they're going to probably be the team with the most losses with 7 or less points. That's how I view the Raiders this year.
Yeah, and oddly enough, the Giants have them in Vegas this year. And, the Giants have the toughest schedule in the NFL, which is absurd. But, it's the way it works when you play in the NFC East, and everybody in the East definitely going to get tested. The best team for years in this division, I was checking out their schedule. I feel that they have favorable one. Going to hit some of the Raider player losses too, just let the viewers check it out, and then we'll jump into their draft picks. But no, Mike, good point, because I do believe that while the Raiders have upped the talent, and they surprised me, I didn't think they were going to reinvest in Max Crosby. They did. I'm glad they did. That's a guy that wants to be a Raider. But, with the new city, this is a team that's another year, maybe two away from really being a force and having their first legitimacy probably since you go back to John Gruden, because the team that Callahan had, that was Gruden's team. That was not Callahan's team.
No, definitely not. And, I will say this about this Raider team. If they were playing in the AFC South, they would win that division.
Hell yeah, they'd win that division.
Like, when I look at right now, to me, the AFC West, when I compare it to the rest of the divisions in the NFL right now, give me a division that can stand up or possibly even challenge for victory. Look at the 4 head coaches in this division. They're the best ones. If you look at what the AFC West has, to me, they have the best coaching staff in the NFL. And then when you talk about the AFC West, you're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. You're talking about Patty Mahomes, obviously. You're talking about the team that was that close to being a 3-time Super Bowl champ. Then you have the Chargers. They go out and they bring in Harbaugh from Michigan. And Harbaugh has built the team he has wanted. Then you look at Sean Payton. That's the most interesting one, because Sean Payton comes in a few years ago. Russell Wilson is there. It just didn't work. And we're thinking Sean Payton out of his mind. He goes and he drafts Bo Nix, the guy that made the most sense for Sean Payton. And now you look at this Denver team, who's probably got one of the deepest rosters in the NFL. I'm going to say that again. This Denver team that probably has one of the deepest rosters in the NFL. We haven't been able to say that about them in a long time. I think the only team that might have a deeper roster is the Rams. And then when I look at this Raider team, how much they've added, they get Malcolm Kuntz back. This is going to be such an exciting division, and I hate it because our division plays this division this year. I hate it.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why, to your point, the Giants maybe only win 6-7 games, maybe worse, where in a different season, possibly 8 or 9 or 10, because, and I'm not saying that the Giants can't surprise people and leave the 17-game slate 9-8, because they're going to be in a lot of games, but ultimately, not to totally cross over to the East, but it really depends on what they get out of the offense. And if they wait too long to pull the trigger with Jackson Dart, if Russ isn't playing at a good level, I'm optimistic, though.
And my big thing with the Raiders is, when I think of Pete Carroll, I've thought about some of those great Seattle defenses. Granted, Dan Quinn was a part of that as a DC. But nevertheless, when I think of Pete Carroll, and you look at just a few years ago under Pete Carroll, they had 5 rookies starting on the defensive side of the ball. This guy has an eye for talent. What I want to know is who's going to be the guy opposite of Max Crosby. Malcolm Kuntz had 8 sacks 2 years ago, didn't play last year. But
it's almost like a free agent addition.
It is. It absolutely is. But that's what I want to see is. And then my other question is, I mean, we knew he had an ankle injury, but then the whole thing came out about Christian Wilkins and what he was doing in the locker room with some of his fellow teammates.
Yeah, really busting down a lot of boundaries.
Yeah. So, and when I look at that, it's like, all right, I look at the Raiders depth chart and who's going to be that guy? And right now, I just don't see a guy that's going to be able to help out Max Crosby get to 18 sacks this year. That's a huge loss for me, for that defense at least.
No, I tend to agree, Mike. I think that's a really good point that Crosby might not have the support, opposite of him.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because Tyree Wilson was drafted at number 7 a few years back to be that guy, drafted out of Texas Tech, and he has done everything opposite of what he was expected to do, so it's like one of those, we've seen this story before. Yeah, it is for
these GMs because you could do so much good homework.
No, it is,
really put in the man hours, but sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, no question about that, man. And when I really look at this Raider team, And I really break them down. I think the signing of Amari Cooper was a smart signing. And hey,
I
you
like
want to
it.
know what's something crazy is 2015 all over again. I just saw this earlier today. Brandon Cooks back with the Saints, Adam Thielen back with the Vikings, Amari back over here with the Raiders, and what was the other one? It'll come to me eventually, but
Thielen
just
back with the Vikings is going to be interesting.
that one needed to happen. And the reason why that one needed to happen is because Adam Thielen is the perfect utility guy. He can be your number 2 or your number 3, and it doesn't affect him whatsoever. Jordan Addison missing.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Who is currently backing up J.J. McCarthy?
They just traded for
kid from
no, they signed Carson Wentz.
Whoa. Carson Wentz is a Viking?
Yeah.
Oh shit. How many days ago
Yeah.
did that happen?
A couple days ago, because they
I missed that.
because they had Sam Howell. They traded Sam Howell to Philly.
Yeah, Sam
and
Howell.
Then
Really
right after that,
was-
they signed Carson Wentz.
I like it.
So
because
it's a good
I
one.
was gonna playfully say it would have been kind of cool to see if maybe at the midway point the Atlanta Falcons part with Kirk Cousins.
Man, that's going to be they're already paying him.
It's so
Might as well keep
unfortunate.
him.
It's so unfortunate that he's not in Minnesota anymore. But I understand it. I do.
No, it's
Great
sometimes
guy,
you got to let go.
Just doesn't have the rep in the big games. I'm going to post the Raiders schedule here for a moment for the viewers.
Yeah, that's perfect timing because I just pulled that up as well, man. When I look at this schedule, I look at this Raider team that, like I said, they're gonna be fighting. They're playing a young New England team in New England to start the year off.
That's going to be a damn good game week one.
I have New England winning that game.
I think
New England going out and drafting Henderson out of Ohio State to team up with Stevenson, and you bring in Mike Vrabel. Then I look at the week 2 against Chargers at home. That is, to me, a pick'em type game. I think that's a 50-50 game.
I think the Raiders are going to win that one.
Yeah, I do too. But then they go to Washington. That's a loss. Chicago, that's one of those pick'em games as well. But I think they can sneak away with that one 2-2. Indianapolis should be win 3-2. Tennessee 4-2. Then this is where it gets interesting. KC 4-3. Jacksonville 5-3.
And Jacksonville, although I didn't give them a very nice record, I do believe that you're going to see some good numbers out of Trevor Lawrence. And if their defense can be who they were a couple of years ago, they're going to upset some teams. And maybe my forecast for them was a little too negative. We'll see. But that's a tough little stretch there because even the Browns, regardless of the controversies and what's going on over there, they still have a formidable defense.
Look at their
but
schedule.
This is brutal, kid. This is brutal. You got the Chargers, the Broncos, the Eagles, the Texans, and in my opinion, by then a budding front seven in East Rutherford, and then you close it up with the Chiefs. That is brutal down the stretch.
I'm happy they have that one as a flex game because Chiefs, Raiders, and then the Broncos, Chargers, week 17 or week 18. That's going to be a very interesting scenario because I honestly think it's going to be one of those Kansas City's going to have to win that game to win the division.
Possibly.
Because I'm not going to say my records yet, but let's just say I have 2 teams in this division finishing with the same record this year.
Well, I think the viewing audience might be able to put that together. I will say this. I'm going to look at the wins and just the wins, what I see as a win. So I was with you while we were kind of mulling through them. Yeah, similar to a good example of what you said could be the reality for the Giants this year. I'm going to give them a friendly 6-11. Maybe a 7th win, but not.
I have
6-11.
I have them as a 7-10 team, possible 8-9 team. Like I said, I think they're going to be in a lot of games, but not having the closer. Geno Smith
will have
brought
a
him
signature upset.
Yeah, as this division, every team in this division does every year, as they should. So, but they're also going to have that game that they're supposed to win and they get upset. That's just who the Raiders are, No, I think they're going to be last place.
Them going into Houston and Amari Cooper maybe duplicating that terrific game he had in Cleveland couple of seasons ago. Unfortunately, it was the one that didn't count because Houston got them in the playoffs that year. But the Raiders are the kind of team that they could surprise somebody. Like they go into Philly and maybe catch Philly sleeping or something, catch Houston sleeping on a random day, but then lose one to the G-Men. Like they're that team that's going to have a lot of up and down.
No, and I think a big reason for that, I'll end it with this. When you bring in a Super Bowl winning coach like Pete Carroll, a guy who is great for the game. Let's be real. The guy, I mean,
and we're Irish fans, and we'll be the first to admit that he's not our favorite coach, so to speak, but we do respect his contributions.
No, yeah, absolutely. You know, and I can't, and I'm not going to say what he did in college, compare what he did in college to the NFL because it's two different levels of football. But nevertheless, when you have a Pete Carroll leading a team like this, I think they're going to be fighting. I really do. I think they're going to be fighting, but at the end of the day, I think they're going to be, you know, one of those that they won't be in position to draft the Cade Klubnik, but they might be in position to draft the Garrett Nussmeier or Drew Aller there and like at around pick 10, you know. So
I already am going to say that your guy from Penn State is the guy. He's going to be the next Raider quarterback. It just makes too much sense to me.
Drew Aller.
Yeah, I see it. Two guys that have punchable faces. Ashton Genty, this dude is going to be special. Jack Beck, devoting his career to his late brother, I think that's going to be a kid that is going to be very hard not to root for. I like the Tonka Hemingway pickup out of South Carolina. I think he has the ability to evolve his game and get better on his first step, but he's going to be a run stuffer.
And Jack Beck, I mean, I'm pulling for, you know, a local product out of TCU. And just like you said, his story, this is a very interesting team. I think we know that this team's going to run the ball. They only kept 5 receivers and have 4 running backs. So this is going to be a very interesting team. I want to see how they approach the season. But
what I found interesting, last thing before we close out the Raiders, Pete Carroll was really upset with Aiden O'Connell, and he was purposely upping the speed of the clock. And Pete Carroll, similar to Sean Payton, been around the block a million times. He knows what he wants, and to your point, he knows how to scout out talent, and he's gonna demand. Fuck it, I'll just say it. A better commitment to excellence. The Raiders are not far.
No, they're not far. They're a quarterback and a true number 1 receiver away. That's the Raiders. A quarterback and a true number 1. Because Jacoby Myers is not a number 1.
No, very, very good when he has somebody to play off of. But if Amare was 4 years younger or something, that would be sweet. But it's not the case.
No.
All right. We're gonna move it along to the Denver Broncos. Last season, finishing 10-7 in this division, 3rd place in the AFC West. They lost to Buffalo in round 1, and I'll be honest, I expected more from them in that playoff game because I was a little concerned that could have been a game that they upset Buffalo, because I do have a soft spot for Buffalo going back to last year's playoffs. Not so much regionally or anything like that. I'm a Giant fan. But I do have a high reverence for DeMar Hamlin as well as Josh Allen. And I did want them to get over the hump last year. They didn't. Free agent pickups for these Broncos. I like what I see here with Evan Ingram coming into this offense.
Drake Greenlaw on that defense.
That hurt, looking like a good lineman. Coaching matters. Wide receiver Trent Sherfeld. Justin, I thought that said Stu Nod, just kidding. J.K. Dobbins, and mixed with the Rook, who's in the draft class, R.J. Harvey, the UCF product. That's going to be a nice tandem. And off air, I said this to you, Zap, similar to what Kamara and Ingram brought as a tandem in New Orleans.
And you know what? One of the free agents there that was not mentioned is a guy that I am going to give the utmost credit to, someone that I loved for the many years he was at the University of Texas. Sam Allinger today. He declined 2 guaranteed roster spots to remain on the Broncos 53 or Broncos practice squad. I think that's a testament to what Sean Payton is doing with this team. when you, Sam Allinger giving up the opportunity to be on a 53-man roster to remain on a practice squad, that to me right there says a lot.
You definitely love your position in the organization, because people lose sight of the fact that the practice squad guys are very important too. I mean, you look at Tommy DeVito. Congratulations, Tommy. I wish you the best in New England. Some good moments on some bad Giant teams, but you gave the fans some excitement. The New Jersey product, who really just, had a hell of a cult following. I'm happy that the team that he lit up in the preseason is giving him this opportunity, the New England Patriots. And I'll tell you the truth, I have every expectation that he will fight hard to be the premier backup to Drake May out of UNC. I think Drake May has a nice future ahead of him. But I think Tommy DeVito is going to have the better opportunity here in New England, because when the Giants went out and did what they did, I knew his days were numbered. But the point I'm making, Zach, and the reason why I bring up Tommy DeVito, first of all, I thought he could have ended up as a Raider. That's another thing.
But, that's actually who I wanted them to get. I know they got Kenny Pickett, but to me, I look at Tommy DeVito and the aura he brings to the game, the personality, he's very much like, help me out here. He was just
I'll give you a guy. Gardner Minshew.
Minshew, thank you. That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, he's got that same kind of style of play. And the thing about him too is he's got playing time under his skin. So if he needs to come in and play 2 or 3 games, I think he can be a guy.
The scene is not gonna mess him up. I knew that, that there was a little more to him than just a cool story when he won that game against a Packer team that was only a couple of plays away from going to the NFC title game that same season. They beat your Dallas Cowboys. They should have beaten the 49ers, but it didn't happen. But that Packer team was good. And, Tommy DeVito beat him on prime time. And that may very well be the peak of his career, but it was pretty awesome. But we've seen it in this league, Zach, where you have guys that have grown from the practice squad, got into being consistent backups, and when called upon in big moments, Nick Foles, Jeff Hostetler, we've seen it. We've seen this shit happen in different scenarios. Even a guy like a Brad Johnson, who was always up and down with starting, a Trent Dilfer. Let's not forget the Hall of Famer Steve Young did not get off to the sexiest start in his career in Tampa.
Most. Look at Peyton Manning's rookie year. Look at Eli Manning's rookie year. Let's look at we live in a different we live in a different just time period.
Well, the patience level for these kids to get on the field now is
and it has to be.
There is no patience anymore. Yeah, it's different.
With the new CBA, you think about it. Before the new CBA, it was players like Sam Bradford or Jamarcus Russell signing 7-year deals for $63 million contracts. And 63 doesn't sound like a lot in 2025, but back in 2007, that was a lot. So because of the new CBA, it's like
inflation now.
Right, that's what I mean. And so that's why with the new CBA, we see these guys getting their 4-year deals, first-round picks with the 5th-year option, but they're getting their big contract now, their second contract. So it's just, all right, sorry. Hey, those Broncos, man.
No. We're still with them. Looking at some player losses, and I'll be honest with you, the player losses are not even in the realm of what they gained. But this draft class, Sappy, Jahdae Barron from the University of Texas, I think he has the potential, opposite of Patrick Surtain, to really be terrific.
He's not going to be opposite of Patrick Surtain. He is the perfect slot cornerback. Jahdae Barron is going to be in the slot more than anything else. I think when you match him up and you have Patrick Surtain is not Revis Island, but he almost is. He can cover a lot of the field.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him on the Revis level, but definitely strong underneath. So you don't see Barron opposite. You're saying that he's going to be specified for the speedsters and just cutting off routes, things of that nature.
Correct.
And also,
because
letting the guys behind him do what they do. It's like a pitcher that trusts the defense behind him. A contact pitcher would be a good analogy.
Yeah, no, and when I look at this team, what excites me about this team is their defense. I think this defense will be the best defense in the NFL. They're very good at generating pressure and turning that pressure into sacks. I like this team, man. I like this team a lot.
This team is going to be dangerous.
They're going to be very, very good. I'm just lost here. Here we go. All right, so the nickel cornerback. Yeah, right now Barron is not even listed as the starting nickel cornerback. Right now it's Jaquan McMillan. So, and then it's Riley Moss and Patrick Surtain. Yeah, Barron was brought in to be that slot corner nickel back that's going to be able to, match up against a CeeDee Lamb if needed to be, which I'm willing to bet that that's going to be one of his big tests of the season is when he has to match up against CeeDee Lamb and the Cowboys. No, when I look at this Denver Broncos team, like I was saying, man, I think their defense is going to be feisty. I think their defense is going to be the best in the NFL. I think Nick Bonito is going to have himself another double-digit sack type season. I think they're going to have Alex Singleton. I think he's going to be a great inside linebacker for them. Jonathan Cooper is the one that we're not talking about enough, where I think he can get himself 12 sacks. I think this defense is going to be loaded. I don't even want to think about when my Dallas Cowboys have to go into Denver later this year, because we are going to lose that game, and we're not just going to lose it. It might be similar to what happened back in 2017 when Dallas went into Denver week 2, and that was just, I don't even want to talk about that.
I remember that. Okay, I'm looking at their schedule here. Cam Ward's first pro game will be against them. That's a rough welcome to the league.
And not only that, it's in Denver.
Yeah, at Indy years ago, that used to be such a big deal with Andrew Luck versus Peyton Manning. Not anymore. Give me 2-0. I'll put it to you like this:
Give me DJ. Give me DJ for 225, 1 touchdown, and
4 picks.
He gets benched midway through the third quarter, and then Richardson gets hurt
for preservation
putting his helmet
of his
on.
life.
I'm just fucking around. Sorry. I actually think that this Colts team will be able to put up a good fight against Denver.
With the Slater injury, I know you revealed your playoff picks to me offline. I did the same with you. The Chargers could be a team in danger, although they have plenty of talent and great coaching, that could barely miss, and that is a big injury. But I'm going to look at it like this. Give me 3-0. They're going to go, because I don't see the Chargers as a home advantage, because it's not that same kind of atmosphere as Qualcomm or other places in the past. The Cincinnati Bengals, that'll be interesting because you have 2 complete different contrasts. You have possibly the best offense in the league against possibly the best defense in the league.
Give me I'm going to tell you what I think. Cincinnati, that's going to be RJ Harvey's coming out party.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think that game is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's the defense that is designed to shut down.
But I mean,
Joe
check this
Burrow
out.
and those receivers.
They're playing the World Champions week 5. It's early.
That's their first loss. That's their first loss.
It should be. But in the event that they were not to lose that game, I don't have them losing one or in danger of losing one again until they probably play the Texans. But I do agree with you, Zap. I do think that would be their first loss there. I'm over here. Let's see. I'm not sure if they split with the Chargers. If they win the first one, they'll win the second one. I really believe that. Houston, I could see them losing that one. I don't think Houston's a better team, but they're home. Do the Raiders have an upset in them once this season? It's possible. The Jaden Daniels-Bo Nix matchup is going to be fun. Sunday Night Football. Green Bay, I'm not really high on them this year. Anyone who saw the North preview. Jacksonville, believe it or not, that could be an interesting one. Late in the year, Jacksonville could have a chip on their shoulder looking to screw somebody up. But, man, I like their schedule all in all. Give me I said off air to you, I said 12-5. I'm going to go one better. One better. Give me 13-4 for these Denver Broncos. 13-4 and the 2 seed.
I've got the Denver Broncos finishing at 12-5 this year. When I look at their schedule, the question mark games that you have to look at are going to be week 3 against the Chargers at LA. And say what you want to say about it, it's still Harbaugh. They're going to have to. It's going to be a chess match. That's going to be a low scoring game.
That could be the game where you see Dicker, the kicker, being the guy that decides it one way or the other.
Yeah, it's going to be whoever has the ball last, and it's going to be a field position game. That's the way I see that game. But I'm like I said, I'm taking that one as a victory right now, just based on when I look at compared the two rosters, and then taking the loss of Rashawn Slater as well as the pass rush of the Denver Broncos.
Worries me, because I'll be honest with you, when I saw that young man had the season-ending injury, it gave me hope, even thinking when my Giants play them. Because if I'm not mistaken, we get them in Jersey. That is doable now.
Mm-hmm.
That could be one of those upsets that you don't see coming, even for my squad. Because I think the Chargers losing that young man, it's going to cost them 3 games this year, and those could be 3 games that are the difference between being an elite team and just missing the playoffs outright because of how difficult the AFC is going to be this year.
I'm going to put it to you this way: when I look at this team, the 4 guaranteed losses I see right now on this schedule are Week 13 at Washington. I think they're going to split with the Chiefs. They're going to split with the Raiders, and I think they're going to split with the Chargers. The question
I got them beating the Chargers twice this year. I don't know. I'm just feeling that, but oddly enough, I got the Raiders splitting with them, even though the Raiders are my last place team, and they'll lose to Philly.
Yeah, I've got the questionable games to me. If the Broncos have a let-up game, it's going to be against Green Bay. Say what you want. I doubt it, but it's the game that I have in question is the Houston game. I see them; they can win that game. But 12-5, I'm sticking to 12-5, and I'm just going to say that much: 12-5 for this team. I mean, they're going to be a hell of a good team, but I don't think they're ready just yet.
I think they are ready. I think Sean Payton's going to have them ready. I think this is one of the 2 teams that's going to play in the AFC title game this year, and I have them winning this division with 13-4 record and just slightly being edged out by the Baltimore Ravens for the 1 seed. But I think the Denver Broncos are going to be the 2 going into the playoffs. It will be interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. No, and I have 12-5, like I said, 2nd place in the division to go along with my surprise 1st place finish.
Wait a minute. Did you just say they're going to win this division?
No.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, I know which way you're going if that's not the case.
I said a surprise 1st place finish.
I got you. All right. We're going to move it over. Los Angeles Chargers, last year 2nd in this division. They were unceremoniously bounced by a Texans team that surprised me because I did not think they were going to lose to the Texans, and I was kind of pissed off because I wanted to see what this Charger team could have done against another division foe in Kansas City. We didn't see it happen because that Texans-Chiefs game was just boredom central. It was a bad playoff game, and it had some real bad ramifications injury-wise. And just injuries that they were already nursing in addition because they played them twice in about 4 weeks last year. But key free agent additions for these Chargers. I spelled his name wrong, but Mekhi Becton, he was formerly of the Eagles. I hope the kid could stay healthy because he has the tools. Najee Harris, Zach, what's the deal with this dude's orbital eye socket thing from the 4th? Taking a page out of the JPP book of stupidity.
As of right now, let me see what they have listed on. I just know right now, I think he's on he's questionable. So he's not on the reserve non-football injury list. So he is on the active roster.
I'm happy to hear that. But dude, Trey Lance, by the way, in some packages can be a contributor on this football team.
Hey, credit to Trey Lance because this Charger, they only have 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I know Trey Lance had an incredible preseason, but I hope he found it. I hope he found it because
some guys are late bloomers, man. Some guys are late bloomers.
No, definitely, without question.
I'll tell you what, if you know how to use him, he could still be a problem in Madden.
Well, hey, when I was using them in Madden on rookie mode, whew,
I'll tell you what, I know I'm a good Madden player because I used to beat people with Daniel Jones. And that guy sucks. All right. This is a Charger team, Zappy, that I think there's two particular teams I'd be fighting with them for the final spot in the playoffs. And I didn't even post their record yet, their schedule yet. The New England Patriots, who I think definitely can get to 10 wins, and given the schedule that they have, and the Cincinnati Bengals. We know that the Bengals invested a shit ton of money in that receiving room, but did they do enough on the other side of the ball? I'm going to be honest and say no. I predicted the Bengals to miss the playoffs this year, even though I think Joe Burrow is truly sensational. I think this is the best team that doesn't make the playoffs in the AFC. They're going to be just on the outside looking in. I do like the prospects of Trey Harris out of Ole Miss, Jackson Dart's favorite target in college. I think Herbert's numbers are going to be a little more sexy in terms of fantasy appeal, and I hope they are because he's my one freeze and pops cheddar in the sun. But I think from an attitude level, they're missing a few key pieces here. And, we got Joey Bosa, who's going to help Buffalo immensely. Poona Ford, a player I like. He's a Ram now. Josh Palmer, a guy who fit in well in what they did, but I think in the Buffalo offense is going to get more opportunities. J.K. Dobbins, when you think about what Harbaugh likes to do, Dobbins was such a perfect guy for this roster, and now he's in the division against you. That's not good.
Well, I mean, they did go out. I know we haven't covered their draft picks yet, but
we know who they got.
I mean, when you go out and you bring in a guy like Omarion Hampton, who is someone that can carry the rock and go out and catch the ball out of the backfield, it kind of allows you to step away from a injury riddled J.K. Dobbins.
No, I get it, but I will say this: Omarion Hampton, R.J. Harvey, although Gentry might be the most talented of the three, I think Hampton and Harvey are going to have better rookie seasons because of their situations. But man,
that's God, that's such a hard because we're comparing. Oh man, that's such a hard one.
I'm taking into account quarterback play. I'm taking into account the situation. I'm taking into account. Are you playing from behind? Are you going to be putting teams away? Omarion Hampton's the kind of guy that can lean on you, put you away, and he also has good hands. I think R.J. Harvey is going to be really terrific with the Broncos. And, going back to the Papa Shanahan era, you remember like that stretch where no matter who the hell was back there post-TD, everybody was rushing for a G.
Mike Anderson and
Mike Anderson, that's a shout right there.
Who was the other one?
They had a slew of different guys that never really panned out anywhere else, but they were able to do it in the Mile High City.
It's like Kyle Shanahan and put any running back in that system, and you should have success.
Sure.
And
they brought in Brian Robinson, and they still got Garendo back there. I think Mason left and went to the Vikings, I believe.
Yeah, he's a Viking. That's why they went out and got Brian Robinson because
quality pickup.
They needed it.
Yes.
With what's his name injured, but yeah, going back to this Chargers team, I like that they brought Keenan Allen back. Quentin Johnson to me is the biggest question mark. And what are we going to get? Are we going to get the guy that's going to haul in every ball thrown at him, or are we going to get the guy that's going to be the perfect ad for like gloves because he can't catch anything?
I think you're going to get a little bit of all of it. I think there's going to be certain weeks where you're like, damn, that guy is phenomenal. And there's going to be certain weeks where you're like, how did he drop that? You're going to have weeks where he drops 3 passes that are going to be crucial. Chain moving situations that didn't happen, and the things that, stop you from getting 6, but have you get 3 that really turn football games the other way around, point swings and things of that nature.
The one credit I will give to this Chargers team is, yes, while they did lose Rashawn Slater for the year to that torn pec, the fact that you used your first round pick last year's draft on Joe Alt, where you can just move him over from right tackle to left tackle. You went out, you brought in Mekhi Becton, who had a career rejuvenation over in Philly last year.
He just needs to stay healthy. That kid has the tools,
He's
man.
got the tools.
Unfortunately, with the Jets, it just never happened.
Yeah, no, and that's just how it is for most players that get drafted by the Jets. I think they're offensively, I think their line is going to be fine. It's not going to be
hope
premier,
so for Herbert's sake and for my sake in fantasy, because I my fear is that Herbert could take a couple of bad beatings this year. And in that division, you still might with those great defenses.
But I think with this team, it's going to be a Herbert 35 to 3,800 yards passing, but I think they're going to rely heavy on the run game. I really do. And drafting Hassan Haskins over, bringing him over. I mean, Harbaugh coached him at Michigan, so I mean, this is not someone he doesn't know. I like this running back room. Najee Harris. I mean, he's probably the running back in the NFL that doesn't get enough credit for what he has done. He gets
the hard yards.
Yeah, he gets the hard yards. He's the quietest guy that has 4 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons in the NFL. Like, I like this team. I really do. I have them as my 7th seed. I think this Chargers team is going to be a 10-win team. I think they're going to be fighting. But what I don't like about this Chargers team is I don't like their schedule to start off the year. I don't like it.
And that can lead to bigger issues.
Yeah, they can, but they can recover from it. That's the good part. But are they going to start 0-3? Are they going to start 1-2, 2-1, 3-0? You lose week 1. That is not a home game.
They're going to be 0-3 going into the Meadowlands.
I think they can steal that Vegas game.
They're going to have to. They absolutely could. I just don't think they will.
They have to. Having that home game in Brazil, that hurts. There's more Chiefs fans in Brazil than there are Chargers fans. Like, it's just.
But let's face it, with the Rams and with the Chargers, when people go over there to play them, whether it's your team, whether it's the G-Men, whether it's the Chiefs, the Packers,
that's a good
contingent that comes up in there, even games in the States. But to your point, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And you know, I know you and Idris, with your knowledge of Germany, Europe in general, things of that nature. But they don't have that home advantage in general. And that's also part of the thing. Because this is a really weird division in the sense that the Raiders used to be in Los Angeles. Now they're in Vegas. And, of course, they had a couple of stints in Oakland. The Chargers forever just don't even sound right as the Los Angeles Chargers. When for so many years, I just hear Chris Berman in my ear.
That's exactly.
San Diego Superchargers. It just doesn't sound right.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
San Diego Super. Oh gosh, man! Watching Rich Eisen on ESPN the other day and giving homage to Stuart Scott, it made me miss Chris Berman and Tom Jackson together.
What a duo!
Mm-hmm. No, but you're right. When I think of this Chargers team, it's kind of like, hey, LA's got millions and millions of people. We're just going to throw you there, and hopefully you can establish enough fans.
And not for nothing, they got some serious comp. Because even the Rams, you're talking about a team that's only a few years removed from winning the Super Bowl. But you got to compete with the Dodgers and the friggin' Lakers. And the Kings. The Kings have some diehards too with hockey. Notice how I didn't even mention the Clippers.
I was going to say the Angels.
Well, yeah.
The Angels have a championship.
Yes, they do. Albeit it's the Socha era, but yes, they do.
I don't care what era it was.
And then that fella that never gambled, he helped the other LA team win after leaving that LA team. Pete Rose, rest your soul. I didn't have an interpreter. He signed it for Dorney.
10-7 with this team. I like them. I like the big guy that I think it's going to be someone that's going to help that offense out. Someone you already mentioned, Trey Harris. I think he's going to be a very good addition to this team. The way Ladd McConkey came on last year, I think is what Trey Harris can do this year.
Boss. Ladd McConkey is just going to get better and better, barring injury. I'm going to say this right now. Their big win of the year, where they're going to give a false pretense of turning it around, is going to be Week 5, home against Washington. They're going to win that game. But their worst loss of the year, and something you're just going to be like, oh shit, what is wrong with these guys? They're going to lose to Jacksonville or the Giants. One of those two games they're going to lose. And I know you had high expectations for Jacksonville. I don't share your sentiment on that. But I don't think they catch their first win until Washington, and it just goes to show you that how the NFL is filled with parity. I think the Giants are gonna take care of business Week 4, and it could be a battle of 2 0-3 teams. I personally think the Giants will have a win before then, because I think the Giants are going to win the first game of the year. I'll go on the record right now and say it. I think the Giants are going to beat the Commanders Week 1. I said it. I don't know about Dallas, but I think we're going to beat the Commanders in Week 1. I don't care because there ain't no damn Commander fan that's even going to argue with me, because I don't even know where they are, even after that great run last year.
I met a few all of a sudden last year.
We're bringing a kicker with us. We're winning this time.
We're winning this time.
10-7. Exactly. I agree with your record. That's exactly where I have them. The only difference is I have them losing out on the 7th spot to none other than Brett's Patriots.
You know, and I wanted to put the Patriots there, but I favored the Chargers because of their schedule.
I think the Chargers are a better team. I just think the Patriots are going to sneak in. I think the Patriots are going to have a better conference record that's going to help them. Because I could see the Patriots beating the Jets twice like they always do, and beating Miami twice this particular year, because I'm going to say this right now, and I don't wish it on anyone. But I think Mike McDaniel is going to be the first coach to get fired this year in the NFL. I'm going to go on record and say that. I don't wish it on him because I actually like the guy. But I think with Tyreek Hill, probably not going to be a happy guy there. Although Jonnu Smith is from there, you know, he played for FIU. I can't imagine. Oh, excuse me. He left. He's going to Pittsburgh. They bring in Darren Waller. Excuse me. Darren Waller is over there now? Not a guy I trust. There's a lot of things he's interested in, but football ain't one of them. And Devin Achane, can he stay healthy? I do like them going and getting some help out of college at that running back position. But I'm sorry, you know, most of it's been through the NFL wars. And I know this isn't the East. I'm just talking about, like, coaching for a second. But will Tyreek Hill be a member of this division before the year's over? And that's why I brought up Miami.
I think so.
Will it be for that same team that he used to play for?
I don't think so.
Me neither. Which team will it be? I don't think it's going to be Denver. I think he's going to end up in Vegas.
I was thinking more of an NFC team.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be interesting because he's never actually played in the NFC. That would be interesting.
Yeah, that's I don't know.
I just don't see him finishing the year at Miami. I think we can both agree on that. Or finishing the year
altogether. I mean, hey, he's gonna finish the year if Tua finishes the year. I'll put it to you that way.
Best wishes, knock on wood. I wish that young man would just retire. I hate the risk that kid takes. His family needs him. All right, we're moving along to the Kansas City Chiefs, the final team. And before we do, congratulations are in order for one of the greatest tight ends in the history of the NFL, as well as his soon-to-be bride, Miss Taylor Swift. Travis Kelce's a happy dude. When you could look like that right now, you're a happy guy.
I was going to say congratulations to a young lady named Taylor Swift that gets to marry one of the greatest tight ends in NFL history, but whatever. We'll make the news all about her, I guess.
He is a big
No,
star.
I'm happy for it, man, because
He manifested that shit on the podcast as well.
he did. And when I think about a guy that was sitting here saying, I have a little charm bracelet I want to give to her, and this and that, and what went from a guy that, hey, gentlemen out there, persistence, it pays off. This guy was persistent. I want a shot with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, he laid it down and he put the work in, similar to what he does on the football field. And I'm going to call it now. I think this is his final NFL season. Therefore, I think there will be a resurgence in the numbers. I think he's going to have a bounce back because last year was not up to his standards. He had a very frustrating time in the Super Bowl, as did everybody on that Chiefs team last year. And, I know you picked them to win last year. I reluctantly picked against them because, and that's how you know I was telling the truth, because I can't stand the Philadelphia Eagles. But we started the theme with dynasties. And I'm going to talk about it one more time before we talk about this Chiefs team on the whole. Last year was weird for me, Mike Zappi. I'll tell you why. I hate the Philadelphia Eagles more than any other team in professional sports. They're like right next to the Boston Red Sox, but at least I respect the Red Sox. All right, said that. This is the thing. While I hate the Eagles, them winning their second Super Bowl doesn't make a dent in the armor of what we've accomplished in this league despite our 15 years of mediocre to bad play. The Kansas City Chiefs winning a third straight Super Bowl, not that I'm saying they're not great, but when I think about the 49ers, I think about the Steelers in the 70s, I think about the Papa's Packers, I think about your Cowboys, I think about the Patriots. You know I don't got no love for them either. But I just don't think the Chiefs are better than some of the teams I just named. And for them to do that, to me, it just don't sit right with me. Because I'm like, damn, man, Cowboys would have did that shit if they didn't get rid of Jimmy and fuck that up. If Montana doesn't get smashed by Leonard Marshall, no disrespect, Buffalo, I think the 49ers would have beat you. And I think they would have beat you a little more convincingly than my favorite team. So we named two dynasties there. If the merger happens, I already made my case for Green Bay. That happens a few years earlier. The Steelers are an interesting one. You made a good point. 4 and 6 years, that is so damn impressive. New England Patriots, they got close to doing this. They had the off year when they were going for the initial three-peat, the first part of the dynasty. They lost to none other than Jake Plummer, team in this division. Tom Brady did not fare well against Denver over the years, even going before the Peyton era. But that's my 2 cents on it. And no, I'm not going to sit here and tell people that I wanted the Eagles to win. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if the Kansas City Chiefs would have won a third in a row, it wouldn't have felt right to me when I think about some of the great dynasties that came before me.
This Kansas City Chiefs team, people are writing them off already. And I don't know how I'm not. I just can't. Yes, they had a bad game. They were exposed in the trenches, which they addressed in the offseason. Their offensive line got beat in every aspect of that game against that Eagles.
We're going to start with the draft picks first, but keep talking, Mike.
But no, that's a good draft pick because you talk about how they addressed that offensive line. You bring in a guy like Josh Simmons. He's going to come in and solidify that. I mean, he's going to solidify their left side.
Lott is my favorite pick out of everybody they drafted. I also like Jeffrey Bassa out of Oregon. Little undersized, but a damn good player. But the thing is,
I like Jalen Riles.
Yeah.
I like Jalen Riles. This team kept 7 receivers. What are they going to be this year?
They're going to be a frustrating team that get taken fantasy. No, but you're going to get contributions from all over the place. Rashee Rice, is that 6 games? Yes?
6 games. He accepted his 6-game suspension. He will be the 8th receiver.
That's insanity. That's like college or high school ball, dude. That's insane.
I think we know what this team is going to be.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this: Can Patrick Mahomes? Let's just call it what it is. We know the defense is damn good. We know that Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo as a combination are just phenomenal together. We know this. They play sound special teams. They don't make a lot of mistakes. But is Patrick Mahomes going to look more like that dude that was reeling off MVP trophies? Or is he going to look more like the guy that is up and down and throwing in some stink bombs?
Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. We tried writing off Tom Brady multiple times, and he didn't go away. But this Chiefs team, I'm sorry. I'm not buying into they're done. I don't care. They lost the Super Bowl, great. They got beat by the Buccaneers bad too, and they came back and answered.
It was a similar kind of way that they lost too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, this Chiefs team, in my opinion, got better. They got better, and that's not even talking about the fact that they get Rashee Rice week 7. Oh yeah, they also get Hollywood Brown back. Hollywood Brown is back. Everyone seems to have forgotten about him. They brought Kareem Hunt back while Pacheco was out for a while. I can't. I'm sorry. This Chiefs team, the Bills, the Ravens need somebody else to beat them in the playoffs because they can't do it. And that's why I said I think one of the teams that can do it is the Steelers because their defense is going to be nasty this year. They got bigger. They got stronger.
In order for the Steelers, sorry to interrupt you, but I got to ask you this real quick on behalf of your boy Art. And I know that you grew up, great friends with Art, and you saw your fair share of Steeler games as a young dude. Will Aaron Rodgers have the year that he should have had 2 years ago when he first signed with the Jets and all the buzz was around East Rutherford for them?
He doesn't need to.
That's a great fucking answer.
He doesn't need to.
That is a great answer because it just goes to show that he doesn't have to be the 4-time league MVP. He has to be competent.
Yeah, he has. That's all. Yeah, you went to Mike Tomlin, who you're going to a team that's guaranteed 9 wins. Now you just got to be that guy to be able to find 3 or 4 more. You go out. You have you probably have the best tight end room in the NFL. Going and trading for Jonnu Smith. You have Pat Freiermuth, and you have Darnell Washington. You got better at the receiving level. You trade away George Pickens.
Now Darnell Washington was from Bama, correct?
No, Georgia.
I'm sorry, Georgia. I know who you're talking about. I got him in my head because I know exactly.
Big guy, big 6'7" tight end.
Yes. Everything that Evan should have been when he was a Giant. Continue.
And then when I look at their running game, I look at all right. They lost Najee Harris, but they brought in Caleb Johnson, who, in my opinion, is Najee Harris but better. I like the Steelers team. I think the Steelers team doesn't need Aaron Rodgers to go out there and pass for 4,500 yards. They just need him to not lose the game.
I will say this, though. Similar to, like, Keyshawn, Brad Johnson. Keyshawn didn't have, like, the sexy numbers like he did with the Jets. But when called upon, DK Metcalf is doing something similar to what Keyshawn did in the big moments. Steelers could be low-key Super Bowl good. I did pick the Ravens in that division. I did. Yeah, I know you didn't. And that's what makes it fun. And you were not on our show, so you got the Steelers winning that division. Yes, sir? You got the Ravens finishing second, I take it.
I have the Ravens as my 6th seed with the Broncos as my 5 seed.
Right. We're filling in the gaps because any absences that you had on the show or just couldn't make it, whatever reasons, because we've all been busy. I'm trying to speed up the people on your mindset, too, because, I'll tell you the truth, people. Sometimes I feel that I should just record every conversation that Zappy and I have because there's so much content that is literally on the phone.
Yeah, no kidding. No, I'd like to, man. I'm sorry. Like this Chiefs team, I like what they did. I like how they addressed the draft. Josh Simmons is a big left tackle, big raw. I'm gonna go I wanted to go back to their draft class. They traded away what they needed to. They gave Trey Smith the contract he needed. You still have Creed Humphrey. I don't care what anyone says. They're going to win the division again.
And Karlaftis is still on that rookie deal, correct?
He just got his extension.
He got his extension.
What was it? A 4-year? Was it 96? That doesn't sound right.
Well, let me ask you this. We know how good they could be, and you made a million good points as to how deep this roster is. I'll play devil's advocate. Plus, I don't want these guys to win this year. What is it to you, Zach, that can derail them other than the obvious shit that they're not going to win certain games? Do you think that there could be something inside the organization that certain guys aren't buying in on the same level that other guys are? I mean, they have a strong nucleus of leaders, especially starting with Chris Jones.
No, they have the best coaching staff in the NFL. They have one of the best defensive leaders, one of the best offensive leaders. No. This team is not anything like that where it would be any type of mental letdown or anything. Like, no, this Kansas City Chiefs team is led by arguably the greatest head coach.
At this point, it has to start being entertaining. It has to start being entertaining.
And I don't care. I'm as much as I hate the Eagles, I don't care that he still made it to 4 consecutive NFC Championship games. He still made it to a Super Bowl with that Eagles team, and then he went to a completely team.
McMahon being ill, I think they could have won that game
if it wasn't for Terrell Owens' ankle being broken, which he still caught for 125 yards.
That is the real MVP of that game. I understand that they don't favor losing players, but in that particular game, no offense, Deion Branch, but Terrell Owens should have been the MVP in a losing effort, similar to what the NHL did 2 years ago.
A broken foot.
It's insane. It's insane.
I think this Chiefs team is going to be clicking on all cylinders, and what scares me about this Chiefs team is once Rashee Rice comes back into that offense. That scares me about this team. You think Travis Kelce's going to have a bounce back year, and it's crazy to say he's going to have a bounce back year when he still had a good season last year.
It wasn't terrible.
It wasn't. And I think he's going to do the same thing. I think this Chiefs team is going to be airing it out. I think they're going to be airing it out, and I think Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt are going to form a nice thunder and lightning duo again this year. We didn't get to see enough of them last year. They got destroyed. Together. They got destroyed in the Super Bowl. Let's be real. They got destroyed. But I think it happens, but do I think they're done? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think, like I said, I think the NFL, in order to keep the Chiefs from advancing to the Super Bowl, they need, in some way, shape, or fashion, for them to finish with the 3 seed and a team like the Steelers to face them in the playoffs. Because
you think the Steelers are the end-all, be-all guys that can play hero for the rest of the NFL fans who don't want to see these guys win?
Yeah, because the reason being is because when you're looking at the AFC quarterbacks only, it's no longer a talent point. It's all mental at this point. The Ravens and the Bills have not been able to beat Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. And that's a hard one.
You know what's insane? You finally get the State Farm Bowl, maybe, but now Rodgers isn't with State Farm.
All right, here, let me put it to you this way. The Cowboys, after Super Bowl 29, they lost to the 49ers. We talked about it a little while ago, 38-28. Yeah. But the Cowboys, who did they face in the NFC title game the following season?
Following season, that would be 90.
It was a 95-96 season. I'll give you a hint. It wasn't the Niners.
Carolina didn't.
No. That was the following year. It was the Packers.
Oh, shit. It was the Packers.
So, and that's what I think. When I think of the Cowboys that year, yeah, we signed Deion, but there was a part of me that thought that because Barry Switzer was not Jimmy Johnson, that we needed someone else to beat the Niners, and that was the Packers. And during that time, we were the Packers' kryptonite, the Packers were the Niners' kryptonite, and the Niners were, in a way, the Cowboys' kryptonite. So when I look at this Chiefs team, I think that there's 2 teams. The Bengals, because of the mental aspect between Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes.
So you don't think the Ravens have a shot beating these guys?
No, because
even though a couple of years ago they left it all like we could handpick the Zay Flowers stupidity, the bad pass by Lamar, and Harbaugh admitted he got out coached. It happens.
Lamar to me is Dak Prescott of the AFC.
Ooh,
he might have the MVPs. But in the playoffs, he has not done a damn thing.
If Andrews catches that ball for the 2-point conversion, do you think Buffalo loses that game? Or you think they still would have won?
I think they still would have won. I still think
Well,
they would have
Tyler
won that game.
Bass, has a big leg. And
It's,
it
you
would have
know,
only required a field goal.
yeah, that's and it's just like the same question that I've been asked. If Des Bryant caught that ball, do we win the game? I still think we lose that game because Rodgers would have had over 3 minutes left on the clock to go down the field just to get a field goal. So
That was prime Aaron Rodgers.
Right. And so no, that's what I think about this Chiefs team is it's all mental. It's all mental. And
that's
the
Nolan
Eagles,
Ryan behind you, by the way, right?
I can't see.
No, behind you, I'm saying, in your room.
Oh,
I got the Bambino right here. I just had to show you that. Similar to your Nolan Ryan one.
I noticed the Bambino one here a little bit ago.
Speaking of the Bambino, and speaking of great offense, we're going to continue on the Chiefs. How about the New York Yankees and Texas Rangers putting up a combined amount of runs that they did today of 31 total?
No. We may have put up 20 runs today. How about the 7th inning by the Nationals? 77 pitches. 77 pitches in 1/2 inning.
Dude, the Yankees,
you gave up 9 runs. 77 pitches.
The Yankees were hitting for 42 minutes or some shit like that.
Yeah, dude, 77 pitches. That's most starting pitchers aim to get past 77 in a span of 5 innings.
I had Ben Rice on one of my Hard Rock tickets, and I was like, the game just started. How does he have 3 hits already?
That game, and then shout out Mike Leslie, beat writer for the Cowboys Rangers. He posted Rangers. Rangers are clicking on all cylinders. Up 15-3, and right after that, it was 20-3. It was like, what the hell is going on right now?
Yeah, the Rangers still have a shot.
No, they do. I mean,
I'm feeling comfortable about the wild card prospects, but with Toronto losing today, Boston wins, Yankees win. This is going to be a very, very interesting race.
Rangers, honestly, I think for their season, I'll put it to you this way. We have a critical stretch getting ready to come up here next week. Took care of the Angels this weekend. We should have swept them, but we took 2 of 3. We have to go to Vegas to play the Athletics, or the Sacramento / Las Vegas / Oakland /
That's a place where your team could rake.
What I'm worried about is after going and playing Sacramento, the Athletics. We're just going to call them the A's.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. Another weird one.
We got to go to Arizona. And Arizona was kind of the one that started our little collapse here a few weeks ago with Ketel Marte and back-to-back games in the top of the 9th inning, hitting game-winning blast. But then we got to play Houston, Milwaukee, at the Mets, and at Houston.
Yes,
that's our season. 6 of those games against Houston.
Has been a little anemic offensively lately. We'll see how that plays.
Well,
the Mets have been a tough game. But my God, you see this young man pitching for the Mets right now?
Yeah, no, and Houston, they have the most guys on IL. Like, let's be real. Houston, the fact that they're still holding on to the division, like, credit to them.
Back to the Chiefs for a second. Sorry. Where's their first loss? Are they going to lose the Super Bowl rematch, or they win that? It's right there at the beginning of the year. It's like bang, and the Eagles will be well rested for that, but that could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing.
Well, both teams are going to be well rested for that game. Let's be real. The Cowboys and Eagles play on the 4th. The Chargers and Chiefs play the next day on Friday. So it's set up perfectly for a beautiful Super Bowl rematch. I have the Chiefs winning that game. Philly is going to be coming off of an emotional victory week 1. And I don't think it's going to be an emotional. I think they're going to kick the living crap out of Dallas. And I think that's going to be the reason why. I don't think they're going to be looking ahead. They're going to be celebrating trophy ceremony, ring celebration, unveiling of the banner, all that stuff for week 1.
A couple of years ago, the Chiefs were off to their typical 2-0 start, and they lost to an 0-2 Indianapolis Colts team.
I remember that.
Can they be caught sleeping on Peacock and NBC in East Rutherford against the Giants team.
They could.
Yeah. I'm not trying to be a comedian about it. I'm not trying to be a comedian about it.
No. And again, like I said earlier, the Giants to me are going to be a team that's going to fight, but they don't have the finishing elements. And that's why I think like this game, the Chiefs Giants week 3, that is a trap game. Let's be real. I mean, I know Quentin, he wanted Brian Dable gone. I think you wanted Brian Dable gone. I said Brian Dable's not gone. Brian Dable is finally getting to build his team. Here's my question to you, Richie. How do you measure the success of this team? If you guys go 5-12 this year, but you lose so many games by 3 points, 4 points, 5 points, is it a failure? No, absolutely not.
And you know, to your point, and to other people in our contingent of fans, he and Shane now have the right quarterback, and Jackson Dart is the right quarterback. As these Chiefs go, I'm gonna give them a twin record with the Denver Broncos at 13-4, but I got them losing the division, and I'll tell you why they're gonna lose the division. And you're gonna laugh at me. I really mean this. A Raider team that has nothing to play for other than pride is gonna dig deep, and they're going to dole the Chiefs a blow. Will it be the last game the Chiefs lose that year? We'll find out because they have proven to be that kind of team that doesn't have to be at Arrowhead to do it.
Let me get
my losses.
Okay, yeah, I was going to ask you. Give me your losses.
All right. I got them losing the Giants week 3. I'm not trying to be a comedian. I got them losing to Detroit week 6. I've got them losing to Buffalo week 9. I got them losing to Denver week 11. And forget about the Raiders. I can't possibly mean that.
All right. So you have them 13-4, losing to Detroit, the Giants, Buffalo, and what was the other one? Denver. All right. Who do you have Denver losing to then? Because you have them having. For a second. You only have. Right now, you have 13-4 for both teams, but you only have them losing to one division opponent, one conference opponent.
Oh, damn it.
That's why I have them winning, because their losses, I look at the Chiefs' possible losses this year between Philly.
You know what, Zappy, after bringing that, because I'm starting to slow down and think, wait a minute, these are NFC teams.
That's why I have the Chiefs winning this division, because I have the Broncos losing more division games and more conference games. The schedule favors the Chiefs.
Let me see something real quick here. They play the Ravens week 4. I know it's only week 4.
They can lose that game.
That is the game that's going to decide home field advantage for these playoffs, or all the way back because I picked the Ravens to finish 13-4 as well.
Oh, I got the
Steelers at 11-6 as a very dangerous wild card, and I got the Baltimore Ravens at 13-4. So I actually have 3 teams in this AFC winning 13 games. But you know what's after making that point? I have no other choice but to give the Chiefs the division after I saw that.
And I brought that point up because when I look at their losses, to me, the questionable game is not Baltimore. To me, the questionable game is Houston. The reason why I say Houston,
it's funny. Houston's going to be getting name dropped like that in a lot of team schedules. It's funny.
Well, the reason why I say Houston is for one major factor is Kansas City struggles against teams that have two premier rushers. And they do between Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. So even though it's a home game, that's one of those games that they can be caught sleeping, because when you look at it, they're coming off of a Thanksgiving game at Dallas. You get the extended break, but you got Houston. Then you got to play the Chargers. That 3-week stretch. No, I've got them finishing 12-5. I see it the same way. 12-5 for Denver and Kansas City, but I have KC losing unimportant games and Denver losing.
So you got the Chiefs and the Broncos one game worse than my prediction.
Yeah.
You got them each 12-5, and I got them each 13-4.
Yeah, and I mean, dude, the Chiefs were just 14-3. Are we really going to say they're going to be a 13-4 team? Like, I know they're going to be
15-2, which is freaking absurd.
Were they 15-2?
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, shoot. Oh, my fault.
No, wasn't until Lombardi Sunday.
And if we really break down this, all right. So if we really sit down and look at this Chiefs team and say maybe they're not done. Okay, week 1 win, week 2 win, week 3 win, week 4 win, week 5 win, week 6 win, week 7 win, week 8 win, week 9 loss, week 10 loss, week 11 win, week 12. Or I'm sorry, week 13 win. Week 14 win, week 15 win, week 16 win, week 17 win, week 18 loss, 14 wins, 3 losses. That's what this Chiefs team is. Like, I don't think they're done. I'm sorry. I don't think they're done.
13 is not out of the question. Obviously, 14 can't be either. And I would have to say that a worst-case scenario would be an 11-win campaign.
I think this is a team that's got a 15-game win ceiling with probably a 10. Now, I don't even know if I can find 7 losses on their schedule. I'll say 11-6. I think they're a 15.
And I'll be honest, Zappy, that when they did that shit and still came out on top a couple of years back, that was an anomaly when you look at some of the games they lost and how they lost and this and that. But
yeah, and you know what? I know a lot of people have this superstition that during the Super Bowl, the Eagles were driving down the field and there was that pass interference call and it was like the world was booing and like the NFL dialed in and said, all right, guys, we've got to let the Eagles win this game. Like everyone's onto us. I don't think so. I don't think that's the case whatsoever.
They got their doors blown off.
No, they got their doors blown off. But really, when I look at this team, how did they lose that game?
Well, the one thing that they did well was contain Saquon Barkley, but Jalen Hurts was able to pick them apart over the top. And let's be real, the Eagles receivers, Devontae Smith, as well as A.J. Brown, shouts out Aaron Moorhead, one of the premier wide receiver coaches in all of football, they were winning their one-on-ones, dude. Bottom line, they're winning their one-on-ones.
No, because the mental aspect. All right, Nick Sirianni remembered how the first one went.
Oh, yeah.
Let's
be real, dude. That face mask on Hurts, I don't like blaming one call on anything, but that was bad.
It was bad. But the game plan, and I think I even said it in our Super Bowl preview where I said, if the Chiefs are going to come out and slow down Saquon, if they can't stop Hurts, they lose this game. I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought the Chiefs were going to win the game. But
I picked the Eagles. I had a feeling they were going to win. I thought the Super Bowl we should have gotten was the Rams and the Chiefs last year, because when you revisit the second round game where the Rams had these guys on the ropes, it was that false start penalty in the snow game that gave the Eagles the opportunity to swap out new defenders, get some new lungs in there, and to slow it down because they were absolutely gassed. The Rams were that friggin' close. Playing hyper emotional because it's going on during the wildfires in California last year. I think the Rams would have won that game. And I will go as far as saying the Rams would have beaten the Commanders. Would they have beaten the Chiefs? You might have got your Chiefs three-peat if that happened.
It's very possible, man. I think this Chiefs team is going to be exciting. I don't think they're done. I texted you my script. Obviously we already covered it. Travis Kelce proposing to Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift's going to be the halftime show. But the halftime show is going to involve a little bit of a marriage.
Wait, time out. Has that already been announced?
No.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. The halftime show is going to be it's going to be Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's marriage. Travis Kelce is going to be the Super Bowl MVP this year with 19 catches for 128 yards and 4 touchdowns. And he doesn't have to sign a prenup.
Definitely doesn't, because, I think it's safe to say that despite all the riches of the NFL and an awesome podcast that he and his brother have, she is the breadwinner in that situation.
No. I think the breadwinner.
And there's a whole different kind of following when it comes to somebody like that, dude. That's just insanity.
No. Honestly, hey, shout out to Jason and Travis. The breadwinner, in my opinion, in this whole thing is Kylie Kelce. Jason Kelsey's wife. This is a girl that took a chance on Tinder and saw a guy with a beard that she's like, all right, I'll go out with you. And when she showed up to the date, Jason Kelsey's passed out drunk at the bar, and he scored her. And now her sister-in-law is going to be Taylor Swift. She's the ultimate winner. She's not signing multi-million-dollar contracts like Travis and Jason. She's not selling out arenas like Taylor. She's the girl that married into two football stars that are crazy but great for the game. And as much as I hate the Eagles, I love Jason Kelsey.
Yeah, I got no bad for Jason.
And then Travis Kelsey. No, Kylie Kelsey, Jason Kelsey's wife, is the true winner out of this entire scenario because she took a chance on a date with Jason Kelsey, this young buck out of Cincinnati, Ohio, that, who would love to drink some beer. And hey, but
I gotta ask you this before we get out of here. Do you think that last year, given the phenomenal season that the Eagles have, and I'm going to go as far as saying, what the Eagles did last year, that offensive line, the best offensive line I have seen in my lifetime since the 92 Cowboys. And I don't hesitate when I say that, and that's saying something, because the 92 Cowboys were phenomenal. Now, as far as Jason Kelsey goes, what I want to ask you, it's hard to hang it up. He's happy with what he's doing. But do you think there had to be some kind of competitive fire to him that's like, damn, I should be out there?
Nah. I think he, first of all, I'm going to give you two reasons why. First of all, he tutored Cam Jurgens. Like, he passed the helm off to Cam Jurgens, and he announced it.
It's incredible when you're a Hall of Famer and the team don't miss a beat, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, Saquon becoming, only the 8th or 9th guy in league history to rush for that kind of value total yardage. Right. Unbelievable.
But the other reason why is I think he, in a way, lived vicariously through his brother the year he retired. Watching, the dude was shirtless, going crazy with beers in his hands.
But it's got to be weird. It's got to be weird when, obviously, a brother's love is, a different lane. But then when it's like, those are your brothers, too, that were wearing the green. So it's got to be weird a little. Because, he lost a very tough Super Bowl a couple of years earlier in the controversial. The call was fine. Bradbury was holding it. But the point I'm making is that was a close one. And then it's like, it would have been like a cakewalk if you stayed in one more year because they blew their doors off. But, it is what it is. It's weird. Like you look at Shannon and Sterling. They should have played each other were it not for that horrific neck injury that ended Sterling's career.
You know how I'm going to put it to you this way. Oh, the comparison I think of when I think of these two, Jason Kelsey and Travis Kelsey, I think the closest comparison is Manning. Eli had 2 Super Bowls before Peyton. He had his 2 Super Bowls.
Ain't that something?
But Peyton, from a statistical standpoint, was the greater player. And that's how I look at them. I think
when you're talking about positional value, as much as I admire Travis Kelsey, I think Jason is more valuable at what he does than Travis is at what he does. Because let's be honest, who's throwing the ball to Travis? And I mean no disrespect to Travis Kelsey. I think he's phenomenal. I mean no disrespect to any great tight end that played this game. But I still feel, even though Gronk was a full package with the blocking and the physicality, I still think Tony Gonzalez is the greatest tight end that ever played this game. But it's debatable, and that's what makes this conversation awesome. There's a lot of great ones. Kellen Winslow Sr.
Yeah.
Jason Witten's in the top five, a lot of people's top 5. Dave Casper, if you want to go real old school. And I'll be honest, dude, he doesn't have the numbers like these other guys. This is a different time in the league, and his career was shorter. But there is no Rob Gronkowski if there's no Mark Bavaro. And I think about what Jeremy Shockey could have been if you take away the injuries. And that guy was an all-pro early on. Shockey was special coming out of Miami and lighting the world on fire with the Giants early on, too. But such an interesting position when you look over the years. Some of the greats to play that game. You're taking Antonio Gates, your guy Witten, so many greats. Kellen Winslow Sr. of the Chargers. But that's my guy. Everybody has a guy who they say that's the best they saw play. I mean, shit, Shannon don't take a backseat to too many either. But I think
it's got to be. It's got to be Tony G. And I think the major reason why it's Tony G. I love Jason Witten, my favorite player for the longest time. The guy, what he had to endure and overcome watching his father beat his mother and things like that, and to become the man he is. Shout out Jason Witten. He's the high school football coach over at Liberty Christian in the Dallas-Fort Worth area around Denton. His son, Cooper Witten, is I think he's number 27 as far as high school football ranks. But when I think of tight ends, I think of Gonzalez and I think of Gronkowski. Is when people think of the two, is they think of the fact that Gronk got to play with Brady. So he got to experience time. He did. But when I look at Tony G, when he goes from Kansas City and he goes over to Atlanta, he didn't skip a beat.
Well, the thing was, and I'm not saying that Tony Gonzalez played with slouches, but they're not the same level. Well, not many are of Tom Brady. He had Trent Green for a minute. Montana was before Gonzalez came in, right? Did he play with Montana? Yeah, that didn't happen. Gonzalez.
No. Gonzalez. Oh no, he did play with Montana.
Did he really?
Did he? Hold on. Actually, I think Gonzalez was drafted.
I think he just missed Montana.
I think you're right. I think he was drafted the season after. And let me see. I have he was first round, 13 overall in 97. So he did miss.
Yeah, he missed it by a few years. So
a few years, yeah.
Yeah, because Montana's last year in the league was 94. So you had Matt Ryan playing at a high level for a minute. Obviously, Trent Green had some really good years. But when you look at a lot of the in-between, there's no comparison. Antonio Gates, he had the blessing of playing with a Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers. Jason Witten had some good quarterbacks in the form of Tony Romo, in the form of Dak Prescott. And he had some bad ones, too, in between. Shit, man, this is a great conversation.
Here, I'll put it to you this way. Here. All right. Tony Gonzalez played 270 games, started 254 of them, had 1,325 receptions, 15,127 yards, 111 touchdowns. The next closest person to him was Jason Witten, playing one more game, starting two less games, and catching a little over 2,000 yards less and 37 touchdowns less. Travis Kelce played. Okay, this is the argument why Travis Kelce might be the greatest tight end. Travis Kelce played 175 games. That's 95 less games than Tony Gonzalez. He has started 168 games, so he has a better percentage.
I'm going to tell you why I can't with that one. No knock on Travis.
Well, let me finish. 1,004 receptions, so he's 301 receptions behind with 100 less games. 12,151 yards. He is just under 3,000 yards less. 77 touchdowns. Tony G's got the longevity. Travis Kelce, in my opinion, has the statistical aspect that he's doing more in a less amount of time.
And I will say this, and it's a tough one. because with the stats, it's kind of like the whole Brady Montana comparison, the Kobe Jordan comparison. I always tell people with Brady and Montana particularly,
But
you switch the eras,
yeah,
they probably still have the same career, but just one guy lasts longer. And I think that speaks volumes about Tony Gonzalez, given
I
that
don't I
he
don't
played
know if
in a
Tony
more.
G. Yeah, I don't know if Tony G survives this long.
But it's like even the Jerry Rice thing. Like, a lot of people love to be like, oh, he had Young and he had Montana. Yeah, he did. But if you take away all that stuff that he had with Rice, with Joe and with Steve, all the other quarterbacks that he played with, that still culminates into such a dominant Hall of Fame career that is second to none still. And a guy that was special, and I'm so happy that he finally got his flowers. Sterling Sharp, people forget, only played with Brett Favre for about 2 years. Sterling
He-
Sharp was neck and neck with Jerry Rice. And if Rice was the best, Sterling was this close to him during some of those key years. If
and he
Sterling
did,
Sharp didn't get hurt, God only knows.
and he didn't even get to play with Antonio Freeman.
No, he did not. And we know all about Randy Moss, such a phenomenal athlete. Moss is probably the most talented receiver that ever played the game, but Moss took plays off. T.O. was a hell of a worker, as was Larry Fitzgerald, as was Steve Largent. The thing with Fitz, I had nothing against him. He's a credit to the game and a class act. But the reason why I don't put him in my top five like so many other people do, even though he has all the numbers, is because for a good chunk of the Arizona time, Bolden was the better receiver. There ain't no team that Steve Largent, Jerry Rice, T.O., well, maybe T.O. because he played with Moss and he played with Rice.
I was going to say he played with probably the two guys that are better than him.
Yeah, pretty wild. But the point I'm getting at is, and then we didn't even mention Megatron yet. Jesus. But we could go on for this for hours. So, where does the Chiefs season end? Are you willing to say that yet, or are we going to reserve that for a future date?
Um, I
You kind of spilled your prediction yesterday to a level to me over text.
like I said, the Bills, the Ravens, they need someone to beat the Chiefs.
So you don't think that on any scenario the
No.
Bills could finally do it or the Ravens?
Yeah. There's definitely scenarios, injuries happen, things like that. But I'm taking Andy Reid.
Well, let me ask
Any
you this:
day.
who do you trust more to if either one was going to beat the Chiefs, the Ravens or the Bills?
Probably the Bills. I'm going to say the Bills. And the only reason why I'm going to say the Bills is, while we saw it last year, there was the penalty, but Dalton Kincaid could have easily caught that ball and converted that fourth down.
Yeah.
We had one of the greatest what ifs in NFL history that caused the NFL to change their overtime rules, and that was the Bills and Chiefs playoff game a few years ago.
Yeah. The Gabe Davis game.
Yeah. 4 touchdowns, 170-something yards receiving.
It was like a Madden game. It was like a friggin' Madden game.
No, when I look at the Bills and Ravens, honestly, to me, is for over the last few years, they've been the more talented team. So talent doesn't matter when it comes to that. To me, it comes to this right here. It comes to the thing under your rib cage. Like, I'm gonna go Patrick Mahomes every day. I'm saying it right now. I have the Chiefs in the Super Bowl this year.
All right.
I have the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Like I said, the only way I see them not getting there is if they're not the 2 seed and certain teams are the 2 seed. I think the Bills are the 1 seed in this year's playoffs. I will say that.
Matchups definitely matter. We know that. I got them as the 2 seed.
The Chiefs or the Bills?
Well, originally I had the Chiefs as the 5, but then when I re-examined those two schedules, I said, you know what, I'm going to give them the division again.
Oh, okay.
So that would make Denver my 5, playing Houston in round 1, who would be the 4. The Steelers would be the 6, playing. Who would my 3 be? My 3 would be. Drawing a blank here. Who's my 3?
I know I was to say you're putting in some serious thought there.
The Steelers would get the Bills.
Yeah, and the Bills win that game.
More than likely. That's what I mean. Matchups matter. So I'll put it to you like this. I'm standing tall on my prediction, but I don't necessarily want to be right. You know, that's the funny thing, because sometimes I'm right and I'm like not happy about it, because sometimes I want to be wrong. But I genuinely think that I'm picking the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. And I don't like them. I don't like them.
Oh,
they are the
really?
They are the only blemish. They're the only blemish to my New York Giants in the Super Bowl. I got the Ravens making it there. I'm a little scattered still on my NFC pick, but I am leaning towards the guys in SoFi.
That's my Super Bowl champion.
Possibly mine as well. And that's
Stafford's healthy. He's healthy. Like, let's understand that. He's healthy. I guarantee you, come next week before the game, he's going to be fine. He's going to be ready to go. Stafford is healthy. The only thing that worries me about this Rams team is who else is going to carry the workload with Kyren Williams. They need to find another. Kyren. They had Kyren Williams is a great running back, but they had one of the worst rushing attacks in the NFL. I think they were 24 last year. They have to improve on that. You brought in Devontae Adams to team up with Puka Nacua. You let go. You said goodbye to Cooper Kupp. He goes off to your division rival in Seattle. This Rams team, here's what I think about this Rams team. Perfect example. They have had 5 players that went claimed since the NFL roster cut down deadline. That's how deep their team is, that they had 5 guys that got claimed.
Yeah.
No, I think it's going to be all right. I just gave my Super Bowl. I have Rams Chiefs.
I'm not far off, and I have Rams Ravens. That could always change before opening day. And when I put out my final predictions, Zappy, as usual, great job. And the cool thing about not having you here for a while is that this was like not just a West show, but it almost was kind of like a whole ass NFL preview, because we really hit on a lot of gaps and a lot of things that you were not here present for, shows that you weren't able to be on. So great job, as always. Guys, if you haven't already, please make it a point to like and subscribe to the channel, the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube. Check out the V-Mix, the Vicious Mix with our guy, Mr. Idris Salam, on live365.com. Check out the Sports Corner, as well as the Basement Show with our friend, Mr. Johnny Nast. If you're on Facebook and you're looking for awesome football fans to talk to, look no further than the beast of the NFC East, the best football page on Facebook, period. And check out the Bleed.
Hey, there's been a lot of new fans in that group. I'm gonna throw it that way.
I'm happy about it. And speaking of which, I'm making an effort to get some contributors from the Beast Show on our show for the NFC East. Announcements to come for that, but it's getting close, so we're going to be making a final decision as a group as to what day we're going to be putting that show out. It is our last show. The reason I have held off on the NFC West is because I wanted to give Shed a chance to.
That's the hardest. That's the hardest division to predict.
Past the Rams, yes. Because
No. I'm even going to throw the Rams in there because
of what we know, because Stafford, if he hurts his back or something.
Yeah, they have Jimmy G. They probably have the best backup in that division.
Yeah, I would say that.
And you know what? Shout out Brock Purdy. He's the only quarterback left from the 2022 draft to be with the team that drafted him, Mr. Irrelevant himself.
That's insane.
So hey, he Mr. Irrelevant came in and did what he did. He got himself a nice extension, and he earned it. He earned it.
One of my hot takes going in and pertaining to that division, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to have a bust-out second year because last year left a little to be desired when you look at the kind of performance that a Malik Neighbors in Jersey had on a bad Giant team, but a hell of a year. I am so happy.
That's my team. You know what? That's my team to watch out for. Sleeper team. If the Rams had to play without Stafford, I like Seattle, but
Seattle's going to run the rock in a big way. But that's why I advise people don't. I'm not a big Cooper Kupp fan this year in terms of fantasy value.
No, but what I was going to say is Arizona is one of those teams that if you're not careful, they might get in.
Jonathan Gannon has had a lot of success against the NFC East over the last since he basically took over because of his roots, and he's very familiar.
Yeah, we have to play him. We have to play him week 4 again, just like we did a few years ago, in which we went into Arizona and lost.
It's just funny how things change and turn back around and things like that. I'll tell you a weird one. 2 consecutive years, the Broncos and Seahawks opened the season against each other, which is like the biggest novelty and rarity of all, because they don't even play in the same division nor conference anymore because the Seattle Seahawks once upon a time, going back to the Bosworth, Cortez Kennedy era, the Largent era, like that shit that they were in the AFC. People,
Joey Galloway, Chris Warren, Joey Galloway. I mean, those because they were a quietly good rivalry. Arizona and Dallas was a good rival. The Arizona's best rival in the NFC East was Dallas.
What's interesting, right? You got that West division back then with the Chiefs. With the Seahawks. The Cardinals used to play in our division. But the thing is that I find so weird about it is like sometimes like a whole chunk of history just seems to get forgotten about because a lot of these new age fans don't really look back as much. Because even if you look at like the 90s, how we opened up the show saying, can the Chiefs tie what the Bills did? Those Eagles teams from the 90s, 80s, and 90s, they had parts of their team that were phenomenal. The late, great Reggie White and Jerome Brown, 2 people that stand out. Randall Cunningham opened the lane for a lot of players that play his style of ball and did it even better down the road. But what I'm saying is, like, the Saints, some of those defenses they had, the Purple People Eaters don't get remembered the way they did because they had no rings. The point I'm making is, like, there are so many elite things sometimes that it's not always, like, the top of the top, but it just goes to show you how competitive the NFL really is.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited. I am so excited. Hey, college football is back tomorrow or today. Texas, Ohio State, Saturday morning, 12 Eastern, 9 Pacific, number 1 versus number 3, number 1 versus number 2, however you look at it. Oh my God, college football is back. We get 1 week roster cutdowns, the roster reshaping. It's not done quite yet. Week 1 does not start till Tuesday. We're going to see more movement. Cowboys, are we going to re-sign Micah Parsons? I still think we do. I said before, as soon as that crap started, when he requested a trade, it was all part of the plan. If we trade him, great. If we keep him, great. But after this crap I'm hearing, I kind of want him gone. I know a lot of Cowboys fans are not going to share the same sentiment as me.
Yeah, I get where you're going, though. I get where you're going. I got a bone to pick with the New York Giants real quick. Great preseason. I love what we're doing. I love the way our team is shaping out. But I am a little annoyed that we did not promote Greg Dulcich to the main roster. He's no longer with the team. And we favored Daniel Bellinger. Daniel Bellinger had a nice little spark in 2022, but I don't think he's contributed at all. When you look at the chemistry that he was cooking with Jackson Dart, who is the future quarterback of your team, I think him and Theo Johnson would have been the perfect pairing. Chris Manhurst stays on the team, but Greg Dulcich doesn't. I don't understand that roster move, but it is what it is. But But until next time, he is Zappy and I am Richie. Thank you so much for hanging. 2 hours really flew because we were having a really good time talking football. Football is back, folks. 2 more shows to go. NFC West, and then, of course, the best, the East. NFC East will be our last show. All of these shows that we've already done, check them out in the catalog. And shouts out Brett, man. I thought he had a real strong show on that AFC East show. That was a good one as well. So definitely check out the catalog. And we'll be back soon. Announcements to come. We are out.
Let's go.
Go Irish. Kick Miami's ass, too, by the way.